On a night when winter roared through the city like a beast, gnawing at anything warm, single dad and powerful CEO, Ethan Marlowe was driving home from yet another exhausting 12-hour board meeting that had drained the last drop of energy from him, leaving only the quiet hum of responsibility he carried for his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. His chauffeur had called in sick, so Ethan drove himself, something he rarely did. And as he passed the dimly lit underpass near Riverside Avenue, Lily, sleepy, bundled in her little pink coat in the passenger seat, suddenly gasped and pointed with trembling urgency, "Dad, she's freezing!" Ethan's heart lurched as he hit the brake and squinted through the snow-slashed night to see a thin young woman curled up against the concrete pillar, her clothes soaked in icy slush, her arms wrapped tightly around herself as though trying to hold her soul from slipping away. Most people would have driven by, blinded by the freezing wind and urgency of their own problems. But Lily's plea echoed with a purity that cut through the noise of the world. Ethan stepped out into the brutal cold, his breath fogging instantly, and approached the woman. She didn't even look up, shivering uncontrollably, her lips blue, her fingers rigid. When he gently tapped her shoulder, she flinched like a wounded animal. "It's okay," Ethan whispered. "You're safe. Come with us." At first she resisted, mumbling something about not wanting trouble, not wanting to be a burden. But Lily slipped out of the car and wrapped her tiny arms around the woman's from behind, surprising them both, whispering, "Please come. You're so cold." And just like that, the woman's eyes brimmed with tears that froze on her lashes. Ethan lifted her carefully, feeling how frighteningly light she was, and brought her to the car where Lily pushed the heated blanket toward her. The woman said her name was Mara, her voice barely audible. As Ethan drove, she explained in broken fragments, lost her job, lost her apartment, a string of misfortunes too cruel for one person to bear. Ethan listened, something stirring painfully in him. He remembered years ago when he had almost lost everything after his wife died, and he'd had to claw his way back up while raising Lily alone. He took Mara to his penthouse, despite every protocol screaming that CEOs didn't just bring strangers home. But there was something in her eyes, gentle, exhausted, deeply human, that quieted his hesitation. His housekeeper, Greta, was shocked, but immediately sprang into action, preparing warm soup, setting up the guest room, and checking Mara for any signs of frostbite. Over the next few days, as Mara slowly recovered, Ethan noticed glimpses of resilience in her, how she insisted on helping with chores, despite shaking hands, how she read bedtime stories to Lily in a soft, melodic voice that seemed to soothe even the restless winter. Lily adored her instantly. One morning, Ethan overheard Lily asking Mara if she had a family somewhere waiting for her, and Mara paused long enough for Ethan to realize the answer was no. As Mara regained her strength, she began opening up about the company she had worked for shutting down, about a fiancé who left her the day after she lost her job, about how she had tried everything before ending up on the streets. Ethan found himself drawn to her humility, her quiet strength, and the way she smiled at Lily with genuine affection. Yet he kept his feelings guarded. He was a CEO and she was a woman who had lost everything. He didn't want to complicate her fragile recovery with his own unspoken desires. Still, as the days turned into weeks, the three of them formed an unexpected family rhythm. Movie nights, shared breakfasts, Lily falling asleep on Mara's lap. But good things rarely remain uncomplicated. One cold evening, as Ethan returned home early from a meeting, he found Mara packing her bag, her hands trembling not from the cold, but from fear. "I can't stay, Ethan," she whispered. "I'm getting too comfortable. And people like me don't fit in worlds like yours." Ethan's chest tightened. Lily burst into tears, begging Mara not to go. Ethan tried to convince her she wasn't a burden, that she deserved safety, warmth, respect, everything she had been denied. But Mara shook her head in agony, saying she didn't want to be a charity case, didn't want gossip to destroy Ethan's reputation, didn't want Lily to grow attached to someone who could vanish again. Before Ethan could stop her, she slipped out into the night, leaving Lily sobbing and Ethan feeling the bitter sting of losing someone he never realized he needed. He searched for her for weeks, checking shelters, soup kitchens, abandoned buildings, yet she was gone like winter fog. Years passed. Ethan focused on raising Lily, now a teenager, and running his company. Though Mara's absence left a quiet ache he never admitted, he often wondered where she was, whether she survived the harsh seasons, whether she ever thought of them. Little did he know that life was about to bring her back to him in a way neither of them could have ever imagined. 7 years later, Ethan Marlowe, the same man who once found a freezing woman beneath an underpass, now sat in the grand hall of the Marlowe Foundation Gala, a massive charity event where leaders, entrepreneurs, and philanthropists gathered to celebrate the launch of a new nationwide program aimed at supporting homeless, rehabilitation, and providing long-term housing solutions for those in need. The hall was shimmering with golden lights and the soft sound of the orchestra's strings. Guests in elegant attire mingled and exchanged smiles. Lily, now 14 and poised with a confidence that reminded Ethan so much of her late mother, stood proudly beside him as Harold Grant, the foundation's director, prepared to introduce the keynote speaker, a woman whose innovative grassroots work had captured national attention. Ethan glanced at the program booklet and froze. Keynote speaker Mara Ellison, founder of Second Morning Initiative. His heartbeat slammed against his ribs. Mara, could it be the same Mara? No picture was printed in the booklet. His mind raced with memories, her trembling voice, her gentle smile the night she disappeared. When Harold stepped on stage and announced, "Please welcome the woman whose life story is nothing short of extraordinary. A survivor turned leader, Ms. Mara Ellison," the hall erupted in applause, and Ethan felt his breath stop as a woman stepped into the spotlight. She wore a simple, elegant navy dress, her hair longer now, her face stronger, braver, and illuminated with purpose. But her eyes, those eyes he would know anywhere. Lily grabbed his arm, whispering urgently, "Dad, that's her. That's Mara." Ethan could only nod as Mara approached the podium, unaware of the two familiar faces watching her with hearts pounding. When she began speaking, her voice carried the same gentle sincerity Ethan remembered from years ago. Yet now there was fire in it, a determination forged through pain and resilience. She spoke about her journey from homelessness to recovery, how one family's unexpected kindness saved her life, how she vowed that if she ever stood on solid ground again, she would dedicate her existence to pulling others out of the cold. Ethan felt emotions swell in his chest as she spoke of the night she was rescued by a little girl with the warmest heart I've ever known, her voice shaking as she described Lily's tiny arms around her.